Jeez Louise, it's been a day. Well, it's always a day in the winter. But we're live, we're good to go. And my headphones died, like right before I went to go sit down and do this. So that's always fun. And the dogs are acting up. Pull up the live chat here. And the birds are acting up. I know. But hello, how are you doing? I am here. I'm gonna go shut that door. I'll be right back. I am here. Balto, Thor, get back in here. Good boy. Come on. Come on. Back in. Good boy. It'll be fun. Get 2 puppies at once, they said. It'll be fun, they said. Okay. Hello, everyone. Welcome into the live. How's everyone doing? I'm on my way home from picking up my 2 mini Rextos. Heck yeah, blessed with pets. That's exciting. I apologize just straight off the bat if y'all hear my parrots. They are just grouchy. They're always grouchy. They should quiet down here in a second. It's partially a lie. Sometimes they calm down, but most of the time they're just loud. Hello, Thor. My Volhound seems to think that he needs all of the attention. Balto, leave it. Good boy. But I can't leave the puppies to roam around the house, so I have them in my office with me. I have another litter of silver fox due in 5 days. That's so exciting. I don't have any silver fox due for another 2 weeks, but I do have 2 Rextos that are due soon. What you got in the fish tank? Mostly plants and snails, but I have a few ember tetras floating around in there. I say floating around like they're dead, but they're completely alive. I have 3 fire. It's mostly a plant tank, so I have a lot of plants in there. Originally, it was a self-sufficient ecosystem, and I messed it up, so I put a filter on it. There's some fish in there. But yeah, I like it. It's fun. I have a moss ball. Her name is Maisie. I've had that moss ball now for 6 years. But yeah, if y'all haven't seen Thor, this is Thor. He's my Swedish Wolfhound. He is just a mess. He's just a mess. He's a cuddly, wuddly mess and absolutely just bonkers. He's very high energy, very high drive, very high energy. I said energy already, but he's just up there. But that's what I get for getting a fucking breed. But I love it. He is very attentive. It's a lot of fun. But the bad thing about it is he's so driven when it comes to training that he gets a little, he looks about as bad as my, right? Oh, he's naughty. But he's not like naughty on purpose. It's more along the lines of he's an attention hog. So he needs all of the attention. Both of those I got are actually reds. Nice. I like reds. Reds are pretty. But, but yeah. This is my work buddy. And this is all he does when I work, is he just sits on my lap and I can get things done. Alright. Hello, Balto. You are not a lap dog, dude. I love you dearly, but you are too big. Yes. You're just too big of a husky. But yeah. Alright, you two go wrestle. Yep, just my going right. No, so I have a Thor. I have a husky right here. Or a male husky, because we have a female husky and a male husky. And he just doesn't understand why he can't be a lap dog. The dude is like freaking, he's the heaviest dog I have. He's at least 50 pounds. I need to weigh him again. But he's just all bulk. And he thinks that he needs to be in laps constantly. Ah! And it's one of those things where it's like, dude, you're way too big for that. But he doesn't believe me. Not one bit. Samantha's really pissed off tonight. So there are 2 sounds, right? There's the constant ah, ah, ah. That's the cockatoo. That right there, the harassing one that does it just once is the macaw, right? So what happens is you have the cockatoo minding her own business. And then you have the macaw right here, right? and he will sit and harass her. So she has to like constantly yell at him. And when she quiets down, Rick will harass her. And Rick also does this thing where if he gets bored, he'll walk towards her on the post. And he'll walk her off the perch. So she'll hang upside down off of the perch to try to escape him. And then he'll sit there and pluck her toes off the perch so she has to fly off. And it's almost like a scene from The Lion King, but with parrots. We call it Rick Mufasaing, I can't speak, Mufasaing Samantha. So, it's like having toddlers. It really is. They're just perpetually babies, and they're perpetually like, ooh, let's annoy each other. It's great. It's fantastic. They haven't been doing this all day. They've been relatively good all day, and I go on live, and they're like, chaos. But, what are you guys doing? But no, I'm getting some resumes done. I accidentally sent too early, but they are both reds in very good quality. She tattooed them for me, and they're fully pedigreed. They're from Red and Broken Reds. Nice, that's exciting. I love when somebody can tattoo ears for you when you're picking them up. Reading them to my blue fawn tricolor one. Okay. You'll have to tell me how that goes. How their like pairing goes and everything, how their coloration does. But, nah. I was talking to a breeder from East Coast, and they had a little white doe, and I really wanted her, but this is one of my breeder friends that I talk to on a regular, and I was like, hey, I really like that white doe, and I want stock from you because your stock is like perfection. How you doing, Little Ridge? But his stock is like perfection. And I was like, I really want some of your stuff, but are you going to convention? He's like, oh yeah, I'll be at Mini Rex Nationals and I'll be at convention. I said, good. I said, I'll be at convention. Instead of me driving all the way out to the East Coast, can you just bring me something from your stock to convention? Hanging in there. Well, all things considered, that's something. You've been through a lot lately. But... you know, with but with him, I was like, yeah, so just bring something to convention. And with him, it's like, it's one of those things where, like, just bring me any of your stuff. Even one of your culls would just be perfect. Like, his body type, like, the only thing I don't know, which I trust my friends who they share a barn, they say that his fur quality is perfection, and I trust them completely. And that's the only thing I can't really see from pictures. So if they say, puppies. If they say that his fur quality is fantastic, and then I believe them 100%, let's go. Convention, I'm going to bring home a Mini Rex, and I'm not going to tell Danny until it's home. Be right back. I have to go buy my dog a present for her birthday. Oh, happy birthday to your puppy. But yeah, I always joke around. Danny's not, like, I always consult Danny, and I'm like, hey, can I do XYZ? And he's like, yeah, I don't care. And when it comes down to it, like, I'll have a new rabbit in the barn, and he'll go, is this new? And it's like, no, it's been here for like 3 months. He goes, but did you breed it? Exactly. He won't notice. So he watched my rabbits for a weekend when I was out, or no, rather, it was a week while I was out in Ohio. And he couldn't tell the difference between his favorite buck, which I hadn't had in a year, and a doe that was the same color as it. He thought it was his favorite buck. He thought it was Coco, and it was Sadie. Completely, okay, so Coco is a castor. Sadie is an amber. They're both brown, but they're different tones of brown. He thought it was the same rabbit, and he told me that my brown rabbit was having issues. I'm like, which brown rabbit and what kind of issues? She didn't finish her food. Okay, which brown rabbit? And he had to be like, on the left, second row, first cage. It's like, Sadie. She doesn't finish her food. She doesn't. You give her the normal amount. She normally has about that left in the bottom. We're good to go. But no, he won't notice. He doesn't notice when I bring home chickens either, or quail. He might notice if I bring a horse home or a goat home, but that's just because there's only like one of them, and he actually, every night when he gets home from work, he actually goes and like says hi to the horse and goat. Like, that's one of his, like, routines, is he goes and he scratches them and gives them love and everything. So he would notice if I got one of those. But when it comes to, like, the rabbits and everything, no, not really. He does notice when my numbers go up, though. Really like your channel here in North Carolina. Oh, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. I just enjoy talking about rabbits. Give me that. That's not. My parents got my youngest this color mat, and it's activated with water. Absolutely love it. No mess. Dogs were laying on it, and Balto has the fishnet. Balto, bring it. No, don't bring yourself. Thank you, Thor, for bringing that random object. I tell the husky to bring something. Thor grabs something in his mouth and is like, I can bring something, Mom. I'm the best. Oh, you are the best. You are the best, Thor. Yes, you're my baby. You're my stupid boy. Oh, but you're the best stupid boy. He's like an eager to please kind of stupid. Like, he's really not. Like, he's not stupid from a standpoint of he can pick things up like that. But he's stupid from a standpoint of he wants to please so bad, he'll do the wrong thing. Like, right there, I just asked Balto to bring me something. Thor brought me something, like, I can do it for you. I'm dumb. But you're my dumb boy, too. It's okay. You're both my dumb boys. But, yeah. Oh, y'all, I went to my tattoo consultant today because, Christmas money and all that. And I'm going to get my leg tattoo finished. So, for those of you who don't know, I have that piece right there. It's been outlined now for 9 months. I haven't gotten it finished in because, tattoos cost money. But I got my Christmas money in, and it's my spendable money on myself instead of just my animals. I get it filled in next Friday. Oh my gosh. I am so excited. So I'm getting my tattoo filled in. And I know that, excuse you, I know that seems like frivolous or silly or whatever, but I'm so excited. I wish I could, I don't know how to bring pictures up. So my tattoo artist, I went in there and I had the girls with me because it was just quick in and out. And as we're standing there, she tells my daughter to wait a second. And you know those tattoos that you can put on with like water or whatever? She gave one to Sydney, and it was a huge like water stick-on piece. And so now Sydney's rolling around with a little rose sleeve. And it is the cutest thing. And she's like, I have tattoos like mommy. And it's like, yeah, baby. It's the cutest thing. But yeah, so my tattoo artist gave her a little like water stick-on tattoo. And Sydney's smitten with it. It is so cute. Leave it. Good boys. So yeah, that's my excitement. And so I told y'all, Lizzie and Emma are due Thursday, Friday time frame. Lizzie's never had a litter, so I can't say. Emma will probably have her litter on Saturday. Penguin's supposed to have a litter. I don't think she's pregnant, to be honest. She's not nesting. This was supposed to be her last chance. I want another baby out of her, because I have Daisy. Daisy's her baby, and I can get a litter out of Daisy, and I can keep that line. The problem is I want a baby out of her and Gigi. That is the big pairing I want, because then, so Daisy is out of Penguin and Strawberry. If I get a kit out of Penguin and Gigi, that keeps my Coco line going. And then I have my Strawberry line. And then I can still work on this Coco line because I'll have the kit out of Lulu, because Lulu's out of Coco. So I'll have Lulu, any kits out of her, and then I will have any kits out of Penguin and Gigi, because Gigi is Coco's son. So the goal is to keep those two lines running. The thing is like Penguin doesn't wanna take, and I technically have her as in Daisy, and I could just work on I can focus on working on the breeding I did Monday. Question, do you throw the doe back in with the buck after 10 to 12 hours? It depends. Was that necessary? That is my least favorite toy in here. I will get to your... I hate that toy. It's my least favorite toy. So I have my office set up here. I have the play area right there for the kids. So when I work, the kids can play, and normally in quiet, but that toy. All right, back on subject. So it depends. For my silver foxes, yes. For my mini Rex, no. And that's just because I know my mini Rex are pretty good. The silver fox lines, they can be a little meh, so it just increases the odds for the silver fox. Because my silver fox don't like to breed. But my mini Rex, like Lulu, I threw Gigi in with Lulu on Monday, and she was just like, here's my butt. So I have no doubt in their ability to procreate, because we had a very willing Gigi and a very willing Lulu. You know, I did not think about the naming implications of a litter between the two of them, Gigi and Lulu. Now we're going to have continuance names all the way down that line. I can't really say anything though, because I was like, when I had Penguin, I'm like, oh, I'm going to do a line based out of frickin' ice and snow. And you want to know what her daughters' names were? Blueberry and Daisy. Has nothing to do with like the ice and snow and that kind of thing. So when I say I'm going to do a naming series, I mean it in my head, right? I'm like, oh, we're going to get a naming series. It's going to be great. Give me my fishnet. Just a second. Give me that. That is not your dodo brain. When I say I'm going to do a naming series, I absolutely mean it. In my head, I'm like, oh yeah, I'm going to name this one after this one, and it's going to go down the line. Like with Cyrax, I want to do a whole Game of Thrones naming series. It'll be great. Now, do I actually go through with it? No, because my adorable little 5-year-old comes into the barn, looks at the babies in the nest and goes, that one's name is Window. And next thing you know, I have a rabbit named Window. Y'all don't believe me. I had a rabbit named Window because my 5-year-old came in and proclaimed it. So, if y'all were ever curious on why I go off when it comes to my series, that is why. I mean, my buck's name is Johnny Cash. I love that. I have a buck named Meatloaf right now. His name is a Meatloaf. And somebody, I was doing a posing video with him, and somebody commented, he will do anything for love, but he won't do that. I proceeded to have Meatloaf songs stuck in my head for the whole rest of the day, which is both glorious and annoying. But I have decided babies out of Meatloaf are probably either going to be named after like rock and roll singers, or we're gonna go with Meatloaf names. I'm probably gonna end up having a rabbit named Time Warp, which will create a whole Rocky Horror Picture Show naming series. Like, damn it, Janet, Brad. Lunch, dinner, and dog food, right? No, I've run out of like food names when it comes, because we've had a Haas and Pfeffer. We had a Haas. We had a drumstick. We had one we called fake chicken. So I already did like the food naming series. Now I could probably come up with something a little more interesting, like we could name one foie gras. But it got kind of funny when I would sell from that litter, and people would look at the naming series and they would just be like, it's like, well, they're food. It reminds me, so my little sister raised pigs for 4-H. She had one named Bacon, she had one named Ham, she had one named Sausage, she had one named Marshmallow. She also had a Wilbur at one point. Original, I know. Leave that. But at the same time, like, she had so many named after freaking food items. But I can't really say anything because I've done that a million times. The amount of times I've named different chickens Nugget, because chicken nugget, it's ridiculous. Dumplin's my other favorite. I like calling things dumplings because it could be rabbit and dumplings or chicken and dumplings. Glorious. But it's one of those, like, when you have rabbits, right? and you're having like at least 100 a year, normally closer to 300 a year, you kind of run out of names. So you just start getting into it. Like Coco's entire line, if you look back on his records from him, we kind of ran out of names because we had Coco spelled C-O-C-O, and then Coco spelled C-O-C-O-A, or is it A-O? Cocoa. And then like he had, his parents were like Lady Godiva. Lady Godiva, where did his pedigree go? Just a second. Like, we got creative with him. I'm gonna open this up. We got so creative with him. That's Blue Kazoo. That's Penguin. So there's Silly. Oh, or like Sally, right? Sally was a blue-eyed white. Cotton, Jewel, Jingle, as in Jingle Bells. Let's see here. Melody, Cloud. Let's see. I know Patches. Patches wasn't as fun. Okay, so Coco. We have Coco. We have Coco, because we just flipped the letters around and we thought we were hilarious. We have Mocha. We have M&M. We have Starbucks. We have Moose. We have London. We have Paris. We have Swiss. We have Chocolate. We have Sterling. I can't remember what the joke was with that, but like we got into it. Let's see, who else do I have in here? Solstice. Han Solo 2. I love it. Well, no, because, like, for instance, okay, so, let's see here. Some kind of fun things. So, if I look at other people's pedigrees, because I have a couple of rabbits I got that aren't mine. So, for instance, Strawberry's pedigree. Strawberry, so, these people have been breeding for 30 years, so they stopped naming a lot of their animals. So, of course, when they asked, they were like, hey, what do you want to name this rabbit? Because it's for Sydney. And Sydney's like, I want to name it Strawberry. So they edited the pedigree just for her so it could say, you know, Strawberry on it. But all of their names start with their barn name and then the animal. So Bob, Cedric, Levi, Mistaken Identity. But a lot of them are just ear numbers, like this one, DL294, DL362, DL272. Like, it's literally, they've been in this game for so long that they're just using ear numbers as names, which totally understand. Maybe I'll get there one day. But my favorite part is giving weird names to rabbits. Other than the babies, of course. But you know what I also need to do that I keep saying I'm going to do, but I keep forgetting to do? I need to renew my ARBA membership. I should have done it 3 days ago and I forgot. I bought my Silver Martins home from someone who had raised rabbits for 70 plus years. I got 2 does. They were named Banjo and Lego. Actually, I love that. Banjo and Lego. It has the same, like, vibe, but different. No, like, I had a friend like that growing up where they were 3 generations of ARBA. So it was the grandfather, the mom, and my friend. 3 generations of ARBA members. The grandpa raised Californians. He was one of the top Californian breeders of his time. He is down now to, like, just a handful. Basically, he has a couple of litters a year just to make sure he can go to shows. But he used to have hundreds of Californians. And then the mom and the grandchildren, which, you know, my friend, actually, you'll be interested in this. The person who said they were Silver Martins. Hello, blessed with pets. My friend, she raised Mini Rex, but her sister raised Silver Martins. Maybe that's what brought it up. But yeah, she raised Silver Martins. She's the only breeder I have seen probably in 10 years show Silver Martins. I haven't seen that breed in person in the longest. Of course, you know, not many people breed them. And I'm sure they're at, like, convention or whatever, but I haven't been convention in forever. I haven't been to a convention in a hot minute. This is my first time going since a while. A long, long, long while. Joys. I'm excited about convention. Like, really excited. And I wish I was kind of still in Ohio, because I learned that the 2023 National Mini Rex The National Mini Rex Convention this year is in Ohio, Columbus. That's like an hour and a half away from my parents. I could stay with my parents, go to the National Mini Rex show, bring rabbits to my parents' house that my dad doesn't want in his basement, and we tell him they're not actually there, but he actually knows they're there, but he's gonna pretend they're not there, and take them to show. I might have brought chickens into his house a few times. And this wouldn't be the first time I brought rabbits into the house and didn't tell him. But he knew they were there and he wasn't going to say anything because he was hoping it wouldn't encourage my behavior. He was not right. I got the rabbits from said that she has over 200 rabbits. I don't know, your comment. Come back, comment. And if she doesn't have something I want, she could find it for me. I'm just still here lurking. Okay, no worries. That is good, like, that's good. To have somebody in your pocket like that is glorious. Keep that connection. That's like 5 hours south. I wish it was 5 hours south because I drive 5 hours to go to Grand Junction for a show. Like, what is 5 hours to like, but unfortunately driving to Columbus is like an 18-hour drive. And I've already told my husband my big distance show this year is going to convention and not the National Mini Rex show. And I have a feeling if I was like, hey baby, I'm gonna go do both these big shows, he'd be like, hey, I know you want to do this, but this is expensive. And he'll also be like, I don't want to watch your rabbits, which legit understand. He'll watch them if I ask, but he doesn't enjoy it like I do, if that makes sense, which totally valid. Eventually, I'm going to turn him into a show husband, and I'm going to get him into it. Just you wait. It might take 20 or 30 years, but maybe someday. He likes to play with the baby bunnies. That's about it. Always next year, plus win the lotto, right? Danny and I do this thing where we talk about what we would do if we won the lotto. And he has like all these big dreams and aspirations of like traveling the world and like getting toys and everything. He asked me, he's like, what would you do if you won the lotto? And I'm like, I would get a brand new rabbit barn with concrete floors. And he's like, well, what else? And I'm like, I'd buy more rabbits. And he's like, you are the most boring person when it comes to your dreams and like imagination when it comes to winning the lottery. He goes, you could have anything if you won the lottery. I'm gonna go, yeah, that'd be perfect. And he's like, so boring. But it's balanced. I'm boring. He's not. It balances us out because I'm just sitting here like, I am a home gremlin. I like being at home. She drove 35 minutes to meet us and told me she's not someone who just sells a rabbit and leaves you to hang dry. She told me to ask any questions if I had any. Definitely a good connection. Yes, that is an excellent connection. Keep it. Mentorship is so important, especially if you get somebody who knows what they're talking about, especially since you have had so much trouble finding something within your local area. That is a great connection to have. Like even now, like most of my rabbit friends, I have one that's in the Springs. I absolutely adore her. She's great. She raises silver fox, and she has a Rex. I'm going to give her some tricolored babies. I swear, we are. I talked about it in my last video. But she raises silver foxes. She's the one who took Moose. I'm going to go see her tomorrow, actually. And I was talking to her. She goes, you got any hose to bring me tomorrow? And I'm like, well, I have a chinchilla doe that needs bred. I was going to breed her to Alpha. And she's like, nah, bring her to Rexy. Rexy's her standard bucks. So I'm like, okay, I'll bring you one because we're trying to get her. She doesn't have any standard Rex does. She just has the buck. So she's trying to build her rabbitry. And I'm like, I got you. And we play the tradesy games. I give you this, you give me that. I bring you coffee, you bring me coffee. I annoy you. But most of my rabbit friends are 3, 6, 18 hours away. So finding local connections of people who can mentor you and who can be friends with you, invaluable. I meet so many people at show who we're like long distance friends. We see each other once or twice a year, but we're like constantly texting back and forth being like bunnies. And those are just like the friendships that like last forever because you're all obsessed. You're all just obsessed. And you have like 3-hour conversations on rabbit genetics. I also did find that one of my rabbit friends is moving back closer, which also makes me happy. I'm so excited for it. But yeah, it's on this tangent, because I'm tangenting. When it comes down to anything, especially within the AG world, mentorship is so important. I've seen it also with like the ethical dog breeding community, having someone to sit there with you and help you out and kind of bring you to events and kind of teach you the way of things. Having those connections is just so invaluable. I have my mentors, most of them are clear far away, but the amount of times I have called panicking or texting people being like, hey, I have this problem, I've never seen it before, or hey, I have this weird thing happening, what do I do? And they're on top of it. Like, for instance, when Stormy had that stuck kit and we kept having issues with her, on the phone with one of my mentors being like, hey, I honestly don't know what to do about this. Here's what I think it is. Here's what I think I should do. What are your thoughts on it? And she sat on the phone with me for quite a few hours, just walking me through it, ideas, and then just basically giving me emotional support for me basically having to cull out this doe I really liked. And in the end, she was right about, like, the doe obviously had issues. You know, Stormy had, what looks like ovarian cancer, and she had already lost all those kids. But even me, someone who's been doing this for a while, having that support, both as somebody to talk something through with and somebody emotionally there, like, it's so important, because raising rabbits sometimes can be really annoying. Like, I love it, but it's also, sometimes it can just be heavy on the heart. Frickin' when Emma lost her entire litter. Oh my god. I was on the phone with mentors and I was texting back and forth. I was so angry. I'm like, what could be causing this? What's going on with it? And we went over, and finally they just had to sit down with me and be like, look, sometimes moms are just bad. They don't produce enough milk and you just have failures to thrive. Try it again, strike oneer, see what happens next time. Okay, let's do that. And that's what we're doing now. But having those people you can be vulnerable with and ask questions on, even if they're stupid questions, like the amount of times I have asked a question that I know the answer to just to verify, just makes me feel better. Like, it makes me feel like, the other day I was like, hey, I think one of my rabbits has ear mites. I know ivermectin, but I don't want to do ivermectin. Olive oil, right? And they're like, yeah, olive oil is fine. They're like, I've also heard somebody's done baby oil works. So I might try baby oil next time something like that happens. But it's one of those things where, like, just having somebody to bounce ideas off of. Or what I also really like when you have friends that are in the rabbit community, right? When you ask them about, hey, I have a bunch of babies, right? And they all look the same to me. And you send them a bunch of, like, pictures of the babies and you go, how would you rank them and why? Because I think I'm being barn blind. And I know that there's something in here that's better than the rest. And then them going through and being like, okay, here's what I see with this, here's what I see with that. I have one person who, she's not necessarily a mentor, but she's somebody I ask questions to every time I see her. She's who I got a couple of my silver fox off of, one of the top silver fox breeders in the nation. Like, she's just so full of information. And every time I'm at show, I have a list of questions I want to ask her. And I'm always like, hey, I have more questions for you, and I'm sorry to bother you, but when it comes to this breed, what are your thoughts on, and then I go over it with her. Because she's just so just so much knowledge, and I love it. And finding someone who has that level of, like, knowledge, because she also has, like, a biology degree and everything. And she's been breeding forever as well. So I'm like, I'm going to ask. She had one rabbit, though. Oh, my gosh, did she have one rabbit? So the silver fox fur on it was, like, that long. Way out of standard. And she brought it up to the judge. She's like, I want to get your opinion on this. She's like, I'm not showing it today, but I brought it just to show people. And the fur on it was so long, like, outrageously so. And she's like, I've had this line for 10 generations back. why does it look like there's been an Angora put in here? And they're like, yeah, that's some really long fur. Like, it was absolutely ridiculous. We don't know. Like, there's no idea of, like, what random recessive popped in there, but it was just the coolest thing, because it still got, like, the grip in there. It's just the hairs were so long for no reason out of those lines. And she's like, I've never been able to replicate this even with the same pairing. And it's like, but that's, like, really cool. Also, while we're on the topic of silver foxes, I want, and if anyone can get me into this Facebook group, because I don't know if it's just a dead Facebook group or if no one's answering when it comes to admins, I want in this Facebook group Alaskan foxes. Somebody let me into the Facebook group, please. I promise I will sit back and I will be quiet. I want an Alaskan fox. I want an Alaskan fox. And they want to make it a, they want to get a COD on it as a color for silver fox. Basically, it's a torted silver fox. I want it. They're beautiful. They're gorgeous. And I want one. And I want to work on the breeding project because I think they're gorgeous. But they won't let me into the Facebook group. I tried to get in about 3 weeks ago, and it's still pending approval. And I want to sit back. I want to see if I can find somebody who has one, and I want one. I promise I will breed them and put them to amazing standard, and I will even help put numbers up so they can get the COD up, and I'll be quiet and doing something. I'll just be like, oh my god, they're perfect. It's like, have y'all ever seen cinnamons? They're like a long-haired cinnamon. They're just gorgeous. I want one. But there's only like 500 members in the group, and apparently, from what I can gather information-wise, the Alaskan fox was a rabbit breed that kind of went extinct, and now they're just trying to replicate that as a silver fox. But part of me wants to be like, but why not make it into a breed again? But I promise I'll be quiet. I'll be quiet and I won't do that. But they are just absolutely gorgeous, and I love them. I just love them. But also, I'm down to 3 breeds in my barn. Serious question, tell me why I don't need a silver fox, because I already have... I mean, I'm not going to tell you that, because I was just about to say I'm down on the number of breeds I have. Why don't I get enough? I was looking at cinnamons at the last show, and I'm like, I need a breeding pair of cinnamons. So you're not asking the right person, because if I get below... Like, I always try new breeds out, you know? And I'll try them for a couple of years, see how I get the general feel of them. And sometimes I just find things I like and I don't like. And people will be like, tell me I don't need another breed. And it's like, look, you and I both know, for somebody, when you raise rabbits long enough, you start collecting breeds. And all of the serious rabbit people don't just have one breed. Most of them don't even have 2. They have 3 and 4 and 5 and 6. Because, like, we all get, like, this little obsession over the pretty colors and the pretty fur and everything that has to do with... So I am the wrong person to say you don't need a silver fox, because you absolutely need some silver foxes. Why wouldn't you? They're gorgeous. But this is my my new thing. Normally I'm a Diet Pepsi drinker, but I'm on a Diet Dr. Pepper kick. Don't know why, it just sounded good, and it's just been... I love it, but... There we go. I just hit the 20% battery. I'm gonna warn y'all, like I do warn everyone on TikTok, if I disappear suddenly, it is not me. I did not get kidnapped by PETA. My phone just died. So, but I should have some time before it goes completely down to like 10%. Normally at 10% I try to end it, unless I get distracted. My really bad habit, the people on TikTok have figured this out. I will say I need to go, and somebody will distract me with either like a really good question or a request to see a certain bunny, and then I get distracted on like hanging up the phone and leaving. My friends do this to me too. Like I'll be like, hey, I gotta go, and they're like, wait, before you go, and all of a sudden we're talking for another 30 minutes. So if that happens, it happens, but it is what it is. But yeah, I've been working on my resume, and let me tell you, I have been going through my Army stuff and like doing my government resume. And with a government resume, it's not like a civilian resume where you just do it front and back. It's like a long thing. Like basically, they have to read the whole thing, and you can make it as long as it needs to be to fill in everything. So basically, I'm just filling in everything I've ever done ever and making it compatible with every job. I'm human resources, so I do this thing. Where I tailor my resume to every job. But normally I take things out. But with a resume like this, I kind of leave stuff in and then just add to it. And it's one of my toxic traits that I will be that person that has like a 20-page long resume, and I will make it relevant to every job. So if I'm trying out for government jobs, I normally just try like 1 or 2 in a week, because otherwise I'm sitting here writing a freaking novel of a resume. But it's one of those things. I'm just reading through my thing right now. Like, some of the stuff, like, I'm not good with numbers, right? And with my awards, they have, like, all my numbers down. Same with my NCOERs. I have everything I've ever did, my ranking in there, and the numbers. And I was looking at some of my numbers. And at 19 years old, they were trusting me with over $1 million of equipment. That wasn't even my own. It was people I was in charge of stuff. But I was in charge of it because I was in charge of them. And reading through some of the stuff I was in charge of at the tender age of still a teenager is absolutely terrifying in hindsight. It's terrifying. Especially when, like, my prefrontal lobe was not, like, I feel your pain. My dad did 20 plus years in the Navy, and when he retired, every time he put in for a job, it was the same thing, right? Like, I'm going through my stuff, and I'm like, I'm going to stick with what I know. I'm going to do human resources. And a lot of times, so they say the equivalent, I was working at an E7 position, and they put that as an equivalent of a GS7, but I was working at a GS9. And looking at my responsibilities as a GS9 compared to a Sergeant First Class, right? GS9 was easy. It was a breeze. I wasn't even managing. I was just doing stuff for the managers. But as a Sergeant First Class, I was in charge of an entire section. I was the non-commissioned officer in charge of HR over a battalion working with Post. That's ridiculous. And if you look at equivalencies, they want to be like, oh, that would have been the equivalent of a GS7. No. That's the equivalent if we're looking at work, because on, like, if we're talking about, like, the public, welcome to the U.S. It doesn't make any sense. Oh my gosh. I'm basically, the job I did in the Army would be the job equivalency of someone working as a GS 14 to 16, depending on department. But they're like, oh, because you were in a Sergeant First Class position, it's only the equivalent of a GS7. And it's like, no. You got, and I was sitting there. Now I don't put rank. I start playing so I'll look through the job description, and then I will read through the PD, so the position descriptions, and I will take the keywords out of the position description. Thor, stop humping your brother. So I will take the keywords out of the position description and just put in the keywords and still work it around till my experience meets those. And basically the idea is they offer me the job before they really look at my DD-214. Because most HR professionals, they don't look in depth on your DD-214. They click it, look to make sure it's a DD-214, and look to make sure it's a member 4. They don't actually read through it. Because, like, my member 4 isn't even as long as my husband's. My husband's way longer. But, like, for instance, like, I'm staring at Danny's DD-214 right here, looking through it. And it's a lot of random nonsense, a lot of random things you wouldn't think of, like, a lot of acronyms. What is this even? So most of the time, they're just like, oh, name matches the 306, good to go. Oh, member 4, good to go. And I know this because I'm HR. But I'm running into this trouble because I'm like, okay, going back into the job field, I'm getting stir crazy at home, need a purpose, need a job, looking at just doing a part-time kind of thing, because I'm getting stir crazy. I'm not good at just being a stay-at-home. And I'm like, okay, let's look at things. And I understand they have 180 days to answer me. And I was looking at my stuff, like, I'm gonna go look now and look at my stuff. And there are places where it's like, oh, job canceled. It's like, why'd you cancel that job? Like, I have been waiting months to see where this job was going, and you're just going to cancel it? Thanks, guys. Or, it's like, why did you cancel it? But at least they'll reach out to you and be like, hey, you didn't make it. Like, on the civilian side, I've looked at jobs before, and they won't consider you, and you'll call them and be like, hey, I tried out for this job a couple of days ago or a couple of weeks ago, just wondering where you are in the process. And they'll be like, oh, we already, like, decided not to hire you. How long do you think I should wait before breeding my new doe? She's proven. Biosecurity. Focus on biosecurity. You want to keep them away from your stock for the next 30 days, at least. Just to verify that there's not anything in that barn that your barn doesn't currently have, or that the stress of transport isn't causing any stress that would cause something like sniffles. Just to verify and be sure. Always err on the side of caution when it comes to biosecurity. But, yeah. Yeah, so... Babe! I wonder what Panda's doing out there. Either that or the child's roaming around. I hate old rickety houses, I swear. That or we have a ghost. So, my family swears up and down my house is haunted. I swear it's just my parrot at 3 a.m. talking demon noise. Because Rick will sit there and he'll grumble and talk. But my family swears my house is haunted. And it's an old house. It was built in the 70s. Things shift in it. Things creak. If my 5-year-old is wandering around the house, she hits the floorboards just right and you can hear her shuffling. So it's just one of those things. All of the above. Basically, it's haunted. There are people wandering around. I have a parrot. That's all. That's all it is. But, I mean, yeah, so it wasn't Danny. On my way home. Okie dokie. But yeah. I'm telling you, I need to, do y'all ever get the feeling like you never get everything done? Like, I have a list. I have a schedule of things I need to do, and I feel like I never get everything done in a day. Like, I always feel like there's something to do, places to be, and I'm always behind. Like, always. I am a little burpy. I apologize, because I'm drinking my pop. But yeah, I am tired. But that's mostly due to the fact that I just don't sleep, and I'm just running constantly. I will say though, when it comes down, what are my steps at for the day? I've only done 9,000 steps for the day, so I'm still another 1,000 away from my goals. I have fed everything except for the rabbits. They're going to be angry that I'm slightly behind. By the time I'm done feeding the rabbits, we'll be good to go. With that being said, when it comes down to it with the rabbits, right? When you're like, will you ever get into broken silver foxes? Probably. Like, no lie there. Probably. I think they're gorgeous. I know that there's been talk of wanting to get a COD out for them, but actually finding somebody who understands the COD process and actually having it happen is two completely different things. But, I mean, I'm looking at getting into torted silver foxes right now, so never say never. Right now in my barn, I have blues and I have blacks. I have a chocolate carrier. I'm hoping by the end of the year to have a chocolate kit in that barn. It's pushing my timeline, but in theory, if my doe has a chocolate carrying buck and I breed her son back to her, in theory, she should have chocolate babies. But the question is will the buck be a chocolate carrier? Because the only way you can test that is through test breedings. So because what I want to do is I breed a carrier back to mom. I get a chocolate fox doe, and then out of that chocolate fox doe, rebreed it to that buck that is the chocolate carrier, and then I breed it to the doe. I start having chocolates in the barn, start focusing on then breeding in the type again. Because my type's pretty good. Like, Nina's great. And I breed Nina. The goal is to breed Nina to Wiley. Wiley has better type than Nina, but Nina has better fur than Wiley. Together, they should make beautiful babies. But knowing my luck, I'm going to get ugly. I say ugly bodies, but like Nina doesn't have an ugly body. Her body's just not as strong as Wiley's. So I'll get Nina's body with Wiley's fur. So the exact opposite of what I want. It's going to happen. I know it's going to happen, but I just need to figure out. So I need to figure out what I'm doing with my champagnes. I talked to a friend. I thought she was getting into champagnes. She was asking about champagnes for her friend, and she wanted me to look over some pictures, which, cool, whatever. I thought she was saying she was going to get into champagnes. I'm like, well, when you breed your champagnes, if you get a champagne doe, maybe when I bring Moose back, we'll try again, because my friend's borrowing Moose. And she's like, oh, no, I'm not getting into silver foxes, or I'm not getting into champagnes. And it's like, but I'm on the fence with the champagne still. Like, I would love to try it again. Like, I feel bamboozled. And I could just breed Cookie, because I still have Cookie too. Because I'm sitting on it, because I don't want to make any rash decisions. I could just breed Cookie back to Moose. And then just do the line breeding thing where we eventually move it on to where we have all champagne kits. I could do that. That's what the champagne breeder advised me to do, which is cool. He was wealth of information, absolutely brilliant guy. Next time I'm at that car show, I'm going to talk to him again because his stock was perfection. But I'm also disgruntled with silver foxes, so there's that. Not silver foxes, champagnes. I don't know why I'm interchanging those two tonight because they're completely different. Like, one is like silver. Oh, we just hit 10% battery. So again, I warn everyone, if I disappear before the 1 hour mark, because normally I try to be on here for an hour. If I disappear before the 1 hour mark, my phone died. I did not get abducted by PETA. Just a heads up for everyone who's in here. But yeah, I don't want to necessarily give up on the champagnes, but I'm also annoyed with it. And then I also have 4 silver fox bucks. I have Meatloaf, I have Wiley, I have Zeus, and I have Lalo. I really need to cut down on bucks because I also have Alpha, I have Strawberry, and I have Moose. Technically, he's just not in the barn. So it's one of those things where it's like, I need to cut down on bucks. Now, if I had just an all-silver fox barn where I just had 4 bucks, it would be on the up and up side of too many males, but not like overly so. Right now, I'm overbooked. I have 1 too many for the cages because technically I can hold 6, and I have 7. But because Moose isn't here, I'm playing that numbers game real hard. With that being said, I also have, what do I have now? I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have 8 open cages, so it's not that big of a deal. And that's not including the grow out cages in the butcher barn or my 5 foot by 5 foot or my 10 foot by 10 foot, which are all empty. I have 9 cages open actually because I had the one in the quarantine barn that I could technically put somebody in. So I have a lot of open cages, but do I need that many bucks? Absolutely not. And if you want to include Gigi in on that, I have even more. So how much feed do you go through? I go through about 2 bags a week right now. Too bad you don't live anywhere near me. I have multiple people that breed silver foxes near me, and they have every color you could think of. I wish. Like, I'd be like, show me your friends. This will be great. Like, I'll get one of these and one of these. Because my goal is, once I get chocolates, I'll start working on lilacs. Because if I breed a chocolate to a blue, in theory, eventually they'll have a lilac. Every color color you could think of. Madison, why do you have so many colors? You can only show blacks and chocolates. It's a pretty colors. I know there's a COD out for blue. I'm waiting for that COD to pass. I have the best of variety sibling to the one that took it at convention this year. Zeus. Zeus is the brother of the doe that got that. So I have great blue stock. They're gorgeous. I'm working on it. I want that. I'm so excited for that COD to go through. And the thing is once that COD goes through, I would love to see other colors go through once we start getting more silver fox breeders, because the breed's starting to become more popular. I'm starting to see them more on the show table, which is excellent. We love that. But I don't just want black and chocolate. I want all of the colors. It's kind of like right now I have my lynx and my mini Rex, and they're like, we're going to take the lynx away from mini Rex. We're going to take that color away. And it's like, no. I just bred a lilac with a lynx, which means we're going to get more lynx. So I'm going to bring a bunch to convention. If that is the only color I show, because I am going to bring a caster. But if I need to bring 20, this is why I wanted you to tell me I don't need any. I'm not going to tell you that. Because you do need them. You need all of them in every color. Just like I need all the New Zealands in every color. Even though I don't really like New Zealands, I'm probably going to get into New Zealands again. Because, like, they're a great meat rabbit. And some of them are really cuddly and nice. Others aren't quite so much. But they have so many colors. Like, I need a gold tip steel. Do I need a gold tip steel? No, I don't. But I want one. And then, if I'm going to get a gold tip steel, I might as well get a red because they're beautiful. And I might as well get a white because you got to have a white because they're New Zealand whites. And then I'm going to get a blue because why wouldn't I get a blue in New Zealand? They look like little Americans, and I just love that. And before you know it, I have 20 New Zealands on a breed that I'm just okay with. Like, they grow great, but they're not spectacular in any means. It's the same thing with the Californians. Like, don't necessarily need Californians. I'm going to get more Californians. When I get my new barn, I'm probably going to have 10 different breeds. And my husband's going to be like, why do you have so many breeds? I'm going to be like, why not? You can get a Rue Silver Fox. I want a Rue Silver Fox. That's actually something I've been on the lookout for. I have a friend who she used to have, I don't have paper copies of those. Nina, in her background, she has Rue. So, maybe someday Nina will throw a Rue, and I will die in happiness. Because I would love to have a Rue. Because in theory, have a Rue, I can get all kinds of colors just by using that as the, like, default of what do you carry. That'd be great. Just like, there's so many things. I keep, if I ever get a torted Silver Fox, this is done, I'm gonna be so happy. What I really want, though, I think would be cool, I think would be freaking spectacular. Could you imagine if they ever approved caster-colored Silver Foxes? Now, in order to get caster in those lines, you would have to outcross it and then breed down the line again to make a pure Silver Fox with that agouti color. But imagine all of the rings plus the silver tipping, like, glorious, beautiful, perfection. Horrible idea. But in the back of my mind, I'm like, but what if we can have a whole lineup of agouti Silver Foxes? Again, bad idea. Horrible idea. But why not? But this is the kind of stuff I think about at night. And then I think about the horrors of those CODs. I hate CODs. I understand with Certificate of Development, right? The reason behind the process of it, right? Doesn't mean I don't like it any less. I don't like the how long it takes to develop something. Oh my god. Speaking of CODs, did y'all see they're making a mini Californian? Or they have a Certificate of Development in for a mini Californian? A mini Californian. When there are Florida whites. Niche things Madison has hissy fits about. Mini Californians. Like, what is the reason Yes, look it up. Oh my god, on the ARBA site they have like certificate of development mini Californians. Like they're the size of like a Dutch or a large mini Rex. Like they're like 4 or 5 pounds, but you have these little mini Californians. And Californians in general just most of the time have horrid attitudes. I know there's an exception to the rule or whatever, but Californians, they're not the best when it comes to personality types. So you're breeding these mini versions. Normally, it's yeah, I'm going to convention this year. I'm so excited, unless like something catastrophic happens, but I'm planning on it. They're making mini Californians when Florida White is an option. Florida Whites are small meat rabbits used in laboratory settings. Like, Florida Whites are a great option. And somebody's like, no, we're going to do mini Californians. I want to talk to the person who is creating the COD and working on the COD and just ask them why. We will be there with lion heads. Ooh, that's so exciting. I love lion heads. I think they're so fluffy. They're like the diet version of Angoras. Like, you have Angoras, they're huge, they're fluffy. Like, lion heads are like the diet version, like cute, fluffy, but not as terrifying from a maintenance standpoint. Like, I understand they still have like a lot of maintenance needs, but it's not like the horrors of Angoras. I love Angoras, but they're so fluffy. My 1-year-old tried to take a clump out of an Angora once when I was helping at a show. I was helping behind the table, and I had her in her carrier, and I'm like helping the judge writing things down, and I turn, and all I see is this little hand going towards the Angora fur, and her little clutches, and I'm just like, no. It's like, these people spend way too much time grooming these, and you are not taking a chunk of fur out of this gorgeous rabbit. And my daughter's just like, baby fluffy. And it's like, Thankfully, both the judge and the breeder were very lighthearted about it because the child didn't, because I caught it in time, but I was not necessarily happy with my 1-year-old being like, I'm definitely just going to take a chunk out of this rabbit's fur. Which, understandable, it's so fluffy, it's so beautiful. My kids show them, and last year was their first year showing, and they won 9 awards between best of breed. Heck yeah, that's so exciting. We have Himalayans for that, right? I love Hemis though. Hemis, I saw somebody pose one once, right? They laid the rabbit out and they started rolling it around. I was like, is that how you actually pose a Hemi? Like, is that how that works? Like, I don't think that's how that works. But Hemis at show, they're always like little tube socks in the best of ways. Like, normally you don't want a tube sock, but Hemis are the tube socks in the best of ways. And they're always just like the most chill, limpety thing on the table, and they're always just like, yeah, we're here, whatever. But Hemis are always like so chill. Unlike the checkered giants. I was talking to a friend the other day, and they're like, yo, checkered giants are kind of like... I'm like, yeah, I have never had a good experience with checkers. We have Californians too, but they are for the kids, for meat pens in our forage. Exactly. Californians are great for meat pens. They're a commercial type rabbit. Perfection. Why would you want to make a mini version of that? Because most people who raise Californians, they understand they're very standoffish. They can be very hard to handle. They're meat rabbits in the most pure form possible. And somebody wants to turn that into a mini when the Florida White is available. So, those are my thoughts on that. That is my hissy fit about that. I'm not having a true hissy fit. My true hissy fit will be when I see them in person and somebody can't give me a good answer as to why they're breeding them. Because if somebody was like, hey, I really like, I don't know. That's why we have, that's why we have Himalayans. Exactly. Same reason for the mini Rex and the mini Satins and the dwarf Ho-Ho. But the thing is, like, mini Rex makes sense from a standpoint of the fur, smaller size, easier to handle, better pet, right? I get that. Same with the mini Satins. I know they're Satins. Tips on going to my first show. Learn your SOP and listen to the judges. The judges are there to help you out and to give you their honest opinion on the standard of perfection. Just listen to them with an open mind. Sometimes they'll hurt your feelings. Have you signed up for your show? Like, have you actually gone onto the website, signed up, put your thing in? I need to look up when that next show is. Thank you for reminding me. I haven't looked up that show. And again, y'all, I hit below 10%. If I disappear all of a sudden, it is just because my phone died. ARBA. But yeah. I understand, like, with fancy coats and the easier to handle breeds wanting to make them smaller. But again, Californians as a mini pet breed is... I don't like that. I just don't like it. I'm sorry. I just don't. It's Chowdo season. Be very, very quiet. It's Chowdo. I don't know what that means. When you stare at the ARBA, find a show. There we go. When you're on the ARBA site and they're making a joke that just goes... Whoop. All right, so loading. I have a show I want to go to, and I know it's always in January, but when is it in January? Colorado. All right, Brighton, Henderson, the 21st. Is that the one? That might be the one. I just saw it, missed a comment. Sorry about that. Let me go back here. Whee! ARBA shows are very easy. You put them on a table, the judge does all the work and listens to what they say. Exactly. I already have people tell me that they look like demon rabbits. Right. I love it. I love it. I love it. Henderson. Yes, so that is the one. Whee! That's it. Alright, so it looks like my show I want to go to at the end of the month is on the 21st, which means I need to move around my breeding schedule. No demon rabbits at the No, you are 100% right. The Breton Petites are... I don't know what's wrong with those rabbits. Alright, so the Brighton show is on 121 and Longmont. I know I'm going to the Longmont show because that's Kara's show. So I already have one for the 2nd, and then there's the one for the 3rd. Ooh, Castle Rock. That's right down the road. I love when the shows are literally right down the road, because the thing is like, for the one in, like, Castle Rock, I just look at my husband and I'm like, hey, drop me off on your way to work. Alright. And then I have a huge jump. I'll be in Cancun then. Alright, so that's not too bad. Yeah, so we're pretty good to go. Oh, they're already planning for one in December? Awesome. Alright, so looks like I'll get Angoras if you get I'll get Angoras. Bet I have a friend that raises them down the road. We could play that game all day. I'll get Angoras. Matt, I'm gonna come home with an Angora. My husband's gonna look at it. He's gonna go, what the fuck is that? And I'm gonna go, somebody challenged me to get Angoras. And he's gonna be like, is this a real person or an online person? I'm gonna be like, it's an online person. And he's just gonna nod his head and walk out the door and be like, what is wrong with you? And I'm gonna be like, it's so fluffy. We have Lionhead Nationals in March in Georgia. We have 6 lions going. We specialize in torts only. We have a blue, black, and a chocolate right now. Breeding for lilacs, and ooh, that's exciting. I like torts, don't get me wrong. Do I understand torts? Not really. I don't understand shaded in general. So when it comes to the sea lotus, when it comes to genetics, as much as I try, it's still way over the head. Way over the head. But it is what it is, and it ain't what it ain't. I need to decide. The smart part of me should probably skip the really far shows, and I should probably just stick to, like, the closer shows. But I also have friends who are like, no, you need to come out to Grand Junction. It's like, do I? Not reacting. I thought I was going. Not the reaction. Since Lionheads are still so new, the colors are a lot easier to read. No, like, when it comes to Lionheads, right? I was around when they were first, like, making it a breed, and there was, like, the whole, like, disarray of people really getting upset with how it was with, like, people basically breeding pet quality and it not being to the standard of people trying to get I know how new they are, and I gotta tell you, from when I was a kid hearing about Lionheads now, the breed has grown on me. because people are actually taking it serious. When it was first coming into fruition, so many people did not take that breed serious and give it the time that the breed deserved. But they've grown on me a lot. They're really cute, and the idea of them is just wonderful. My dog is pacing to go outside, so I'm going to call. I do not feed hay every day. I feed pellet every day, and hay is enrichment. All right, y'all, my phone's on, like, going to die. My dog is pacing to go potty. I'm going to cut it here. Yes, I was there too, and now I see lion heads with single manes, and I'm like, please stop breeding them. We can discuss that, because let me tell you, the whole mane thing gets me going sometimes. But we're doing that thing again. We're doing that thing I said we were going to do. We're doing that thing where people get me distracted and I start talking even though I said I was going to get off. So I'm going to get off now. And bye! And we're going to get Angoras. Watch, it's gonna happen. Anyway, y'all, I hope y'all have a wonderful night. Thank you so much for hanging out with me. And as always, I'm going to awkwardly press that exit button, and I will see y'all in the next one. Bye.